Hey, it's Dario and this is Coffee with the Markets. And today I wanted to talk to you about an article that I was reading which talks about fund managers that are turning their focus on millennials. But not just fund managers in general, ETF fund manager. So I would like to take this occasion also to talk to you about what I think is the best investment you could ever make, which is ETFs. Hey again, it's Dario and this is Divity Finance, a platform where we can share our best tips and tools when it comes to trading, investing or finance in general. And if you love the subject, please consider subscribing. I talked about ETFs in a previous video, but I haven't really talked about what I think about ETFs, I will put a link for the video up here or in the description. But again, in that video, I haven't talked about what I truly think about ETFs. And in this video, we're going to talk about it because it's no surprise that fund managers are realizing that more people want to invest in ETFs. For everybody who don't know what an ETF is, it's more or less like an index fund, but it's even better, okay? They track indices, okay? For example, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, they track that index and they try to have the same returns of that index. And they actually do have the same return of that index, okay? Maybe they have a 0.5% less or more, but you get the point, okay? They track the index of reference. The nice thing about ETFs is that there is no management, there is no strategy, there is not active management behind an ETF. It's just following an index which has a precise rule on how to accept a stock in their index. For example, the S&P 500 has a certain rule, which is that they take the 500 biggest companies of the US market. So the 500 companies that have the biggest market cap. If the last company falls behind 500, there will be a new one going in. So there is no active management, there is no choosing which stocks are better, which stocks are going to perform better. No. It's very simple. You take those 500 companies, you put them in the index. That's it. And the ETF does the same thing. They replicate, they can fully replicate, or they can optimize the index, but nonetheless, they keep track of that index. Their job is to keep track of a certain index. Now there are also ETFs more complicated with beta, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't like those ETFs. It's always better to keep it simple, especially if you're not an expert, especially if you're not a professional. You want to keep it simple, and ETFs are the best way to keep it simple. But now the only problem with ETFs is that they require a little bit of knowledge. Not that much. You don't have to study economics to understand ETFs, but they require a little bit of knowledge. They require you sometimes to understand them and to choose the better ones. And then what you want to do is to invest in those ETFs long term. You can choose to invest, for example, every 6 months. You have, $1,000 every 6 months you put in, or every year, maybe $3,000 every year, okay? And you put them in those ETFs and that's it. You wait long term, 30, 40, 50 years if you have the time, and that's it, okay? But remember, this is long term, not short term, no 1 month, no 1 week, not looking at the chart, not looking at the profit and loss every day, no, none of that. You choose how much to invest every 6 months, every year, and you put that no matter what. You put in the money and you forget it, okay? 30, 40 years from now, you watch at your balance and you take the money that you want. And also they are much better than single stocks because you don't have to look at millions of numbers. So you have no 10Q, no 10K, no PB, no PE, no PS, no PEG ratio, and so on. You just have to choose some indices and you have to keep it simple. So choose the major indices. Don't go for industries because then you get too specific and you have to be a professional. Or at least you have to have some knowledge, some deep knowledge about ETFs, and especially some deep knowledge about the specific industry. So keep it simple, go for the general stock indices, again S&P 500, Nasdaq, MSCI World, and so on, the stock 600 for Europe, and so on. But I want to make a video on ETFs and how to choose ETFs. So if you are interested in that video, please leave a comment. And also go down in the description because I will put some links of some website where you can find ETFs. Start to make some filters, start to, choose just equity ETFs, start to choose just maybe US stock market ETF and so on. Then familiarize with ETFs, look at what are the costs, because I guarantee they are so little, and let me know what you think. Let me know what are your questions about ETFs, and I will make a video or even reply to the comments. But hey, this was all I had to say for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like and let me know in the comments down below what are your questions about ETFs, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, it's Dario and this is Coffee with the Markets, but without coffee this time. So today I would like to talk to you about the new tariffs for China, the Trump's tariff, the 10% raise, because they are going to affect the normal people this time, the people that go to buy shoes.